Hey everybody, welcome back to Slimefun on Survival with the Fanatic MC server. This is Boomer, and episode 2, we're underway. Now, at the end of episode 1, I had showed you Guardian Temple, and I believe I said the goal was to time-lapse clearing out that temple. And so I spent the next 5 hours after I finished posting that episode, clearing out the temple, recording a time lapse, or so I thought. The program I've been using to do time lapse is called Cafe Recorder, and the last major time lapse I did, all it did is record the introductory welcome screen to Minecraft, and I don't know why. I gave it another shot, and I lost 5 hours of footage. So Cafe Recorder, your program sucks, dude. Really bad. I lost 5 hours, and all it recorded was the overhead view that I had with my other account, and left me with about 30 seconds of actual footage. So if anybody knows a really good time-lapse recording software program, or really that actually works, if you leave it in the comments below, that'd be great. But we want to show you what we did manage to accomplish here when we cleared out the Guardian Temple. This is the one of 2 platforms that I've completed since then. This is going to be the upper platform where we start to build our base, where we're going to be working today, taking you through the basic machines of Slimefun. This is a basic pattern I worked out. Eventually this is going to be expanded. Like I think I mentioned in the introductory video, we're going to be placing a circle going all the way around for 256 block diameter. So 128 out from that exact center right there. We're going to go 256 blocks, circle total. And we're going to drain all the water. The walls here are actually going to be brought in 1 block, because that green line that you see is going to be what's going to hold my Guardian farm. And so Exumavoid on the Hermitcraft series was the first place I had seen it, and I've seen it in a couple of others. I've used it in single player worlds and on multiplayer worlds. I've tweaked it a little bit, gotten it I think even a little bit more productive, but that's going to be built in here. As well as below here, we actually have some spawners downstairs that we're going to take a look at. So we actually have to turn chat back on just for a brief moment. We're going to go to what I call underwater. There we go. So here's that pattern from underneath. There's my wither skeleton spawners. With Slimefun, wither skeleton has become the most valuable mob, followed by blaze, because wither skeleton drops both coal and bone meal, which you need extensively if you're going to blow Slimefun out of the water. On my other, on the Skygrid series, I have 64 of them that run almost 24/7, and I can't get enough. Granted, I am producing probably more than the rest of the entire server put together of materials and crafted items and things out of the guide that I sell in the shop. I actually redid my grid shop today and found out I have 128 shops of just Slimefun items in my work that I maintain. So we're going to do something similar to that here in survival, though probably not as in-depth. When we do craft stuff, we're going to craft much more at once. And then I can just leave my camera account AFK on it overnight while the smelters and everything work. So here's the pattern that we laid in. I worked out this support pillar in Creative World to just give me some kind of, so it's supporting it and being up. You can see we've used a little bit of terracotta in there as well, glazed terracotta. And the server's having some TPS issues. I don't know why. The survival server's really been struggling with TPS lately. We know the Slimefun plugin is bad for multiplayer servers. We also know the mob arena we have is bad for server performance. It's not like there's not enough RAM on this thing. There is, trust me. I'm talking with Fan, there's plenty of RAM. Slimefun is just not a server-friendly plugin. not to mention all things that we try to put in the mob arena and the dungeons and items adder. A lot of things have come together and just not worked out like we'd wanted to. But this floor plan, this is probably the 25th iteration of attempting to put this together. I really like it. It does feel kind of regal. It has that underwater feel, that Atlantis feel to it. I've modified the chamber for where the withers die. That's half slabs are falling on, so I can't have mobs spawned on there. I actually have a slime chunk. One of those four, it's on 4 chunks perfectly divided. One of those 4 happens to be a slime chunk, and so I was getting slimed on there, so I decided to put half slabs just to stop that from happening. But our goal today is to take you through, we're going to go through most of the basic machines. We're not going to do all of them. There's 2 or 3 that we're not going to do today. For one, I don't use the juicer. I don't use the kitchen. Now, maybe at some point we'll circle back, and they are kind of fun. You know, you've got a lot of different items you can craft. However, for actual slime fun, you really don't need them, because if you want food, you can get steak and any other option much better, much faster, much larger quantities than crafting a cheeseburger or a fish sandwich. So as fun as they are, we're just going to kind of stay away from them today. What we're going to do, we are going to focus our time building most of these up to about the crucible. These furnaces will come at a later date, but we're going to start. Everything is based off of this enhanced crafting table. So to make these are none of these are put together in a crafting table, workbench, or frame. Okay, guys? They are what's called a multi-block. And it says right here, this is what blows my mind, why so people don't understand this. It says build it in the world. What are you building? Here's your recipe right here. This 3x3, this is not a crafting frame, but it's an example of how to build it. So in other words, I place a dispenser under a crafting table. It gives you an enhanced crafting table. So every time you see multi-block, this is not crafting. It tells you clear as day on the screen, build it. And you are building what you see. The recipe will be here as if you're physically building it in the world. And so we're going to place down a dispenser facing normally with a crafting table right above it. We have a dispenser. Boom, 1. Get that out of there. Here's our crafting table. Boom, 2. Whoops. You got to hold on shift to place it. And you go, ooh, what happened? Boomer, what happened? Does it work? Nothing happened. You didn't see roses come on the screen. You didn't see purple lightning. But watch what happens if I click this. I need to turn chat back on. I guess we're going to have to leave it on. I like to have it off when we do this. But look at this. I could not recognize a pattern. If you get that, that means it works. It works 100%. We have successfully built the thing that we will use probably more than anything. Crafting table. Real tough, right? So here's what you do. You're going to load your items into the dispenser, whatever the recipe happens to be, and those recipes are all 100% contained in the Slimefun guide. Once you have the recipe in the crafting table, in that dispenser, you're going to click on the crafting table. That will, if the recipe was assembled properly, you will not see that error. It will actually create the item, and then it will be found in the dispenser. The downside to this is you can only craft one item at a time, because the moment it crafts something, it looks for an available slot to stick it in. So let's say I wanted to build 2 electric motors, let's say 2 batteries, okay? It's a redstone, 2 sulfate, 2 zinc, and 2 copper ingots. If I try to build that in here, and I want to make 2 of them, I can only make 1, because the first one, it would be here is the redstone, the 2 sulfate in the middle, zinc ingots are here, and copper ingots are here. So if I put in 2 of everything, the first one I crafted, I put a battery here. Now it's going to try to repeat the recipe with the battery in there. It won't work. So one of the things we're going to work very quickly on after we've got the basic machines up is to get a output chest. That way, after it crafts it, when you place it next to, behind, or in front of the dispenser, it instead puts those items into the output chest, allowing you to spam click this to craft massive amounts of things very quickly. So that will be the first thing we will work towards, is making the output chest. If you want to find something, click the search button and we'll put output in the search bar. Here's our output chest. So we need 5 lead ingots, a chest, and a vanilla hopper. We're going to need about 6 of these. Those, as soon as we start getting Slimefun dust, lead, the first 5 leads we get for each time we get them, we're going to be making output chests to speed this up. So that would be the first dust we go after, okay? So let's keep continuing here. We need to place some more of the basic machines. So we're going to go all the way back. We're going to place the grindstone. The grindstone we're going to use a lot, and I mean a lot. Now, just to give you an idea, when you see stuff like this, this tells you recipes made in this machine. If you hover over this gray glass, 1 of 2 pages, we can go to the next one. We have 2 pages. So here's what it does. You put in blaze rod, you get 4 blaze powder. Holy cow, vanilla is only 2. Gains you an advantage. Bones. Put in 1 bone, you get 4 bone meal. Vanilla is only 3. You put in gravel, you get flint. Now that's pretty normal. Put in eye of ender, you get 2 ender lump level 1s. We put in cobble, we can get gravel. Whoa, there's something new. Andesite gives us gravel. Diorite gives us gravel. Granite gives us gravel. Dirt can give us a stone chunk. And we can turn dirt into stone chunks, which can be turned into stone if we need to. Okay, 1 sandstone gives us 4 sand. Wow, that's pretty awesome. It's like reverse crafting almost. Same thing with red sandstone. Another wort can give us magical lumps, which comes in later for talisman, which is something we're going to work on getting relatively quickly. Wheat gives us wheat flour. Ice gives us ice cubes. Hey, guess what? We can make lemonade, right? An egg, mayo, and so on. You get the idea. And so all this is, it's a multi-block. So again, we're going to build it. We're going to put an oak fence over the dispenser, but you see it says dispenser facing up. That means that the opening to the dispenser faces the sky. All right. So let's see, where are we here? I want to put these in specific places for specific reasons. All right. So we'll face the dispenser up. We'll get ourselves an oak fence. And we'll shift click. Hey, guess what? Now, to use the thing, again, whatever I happen to be grinding, if I put in a stack of bones here, and I right click the fence post, it would give me bone meal back. Now this one's a little bit different. It will continue to craft bone meal. If I put in 1 stack of bones, it'll fill up 4 slots with bone meal. I put in another stack of bones, it'll fill up 4 more slots. If I put in the 3rd stack of bones, it'll have nowhere to go because the bone meal doesn't have anywhere left to go. So the output chest, that's what kind of helps with that. So now the grindstone's good to go. What's next on the list? We'll go back. Let's build the armor forge. Now, the armor forge is something we're not going to be using for a while, but it does help us when we're looking to create certain types of powerful armor. So again, it's another multi-block, same thing, dispenser facing up over an anvil. Because this is 1, we're going to move it down here because we're not going to be using it too often. We'll keep it out of the center. Here's our anvil. All right, whoops. For some reason I have torches in my inventory. Same thing. Put the tools in here to create, or the weapon ingredients to create the armor, and we click on the anvil. Now that's just how simple this stuff is, guys. What's next? The ore crusher. You're going to use this a lot. Again, you'll see it's a multi-block. We're going to build a dispenser facing up, 2 iron bars, 1 on either side, and another brick fence. And now, all these ore chunks, these come from geomining. Something we'll do later on down the road just to show you how it works. Here's where, though, this comes in handy. 8 cobblestone becomes 1 sand. That's something that will come in handy for us later. Gold ingots can become gold dust. Ores. Okay, if I put in 1 coal ore, I get 2 coal. Now, Fortune 3, something that probably might give us more, sometimes not. We do have Fortune X on the server, and we're going to save the ores to use the Fortune X. But here, 14 lapis, 8 redstone dust. Now, I've used the Fortune X on here, and we do get even more sometimes. 2 diamond, which is great, but Fortune X will yield 5, and when we put a talisman of the miner in, on average, we actually get 6 to 7. Same thing, emerald. Iron ore will yield iron dust. Coal ore will yield coal dust. We might be doing a lot of that in the very beginning. 16 netherrack give us sulfate. Down the road, this will become one of the most important things that we can gather. Now, luckily, in survival, you've got a huge nether. Getting netherrack is relatively easy. In Skygrid, it's not. So this is why in Skygrid I built the netherrack farm with minions. We can turn sifted ore into crushed ore into pulverized. Pulverized can then be changed into pure ore cluster through another method, which gives us tiny pellets of uranium. Uranium we're going to use later on down the road for powering a lot of materials as well as crafting ingredients in those too. So let's build this dispenser facing up, and since this one we're going to use a lot of, we're going to put toward the middle. Okay, let's put our dispenser facing up. We need 2 iron bars, and we need another brick fence. So again, put the materials in here we're going to crush, right click on the fence. Again, if you want to know, did you build it right? If you get that initial error, you did it right. Now, this is a Slimefun machine, so keep one thing in mind. They're not meant for vanilla for the most part. They are not crafting benches for vanilla. They are for Slimefun item recipes only. Now, they will take some vanilla items and, like I showed you, give you different yields. But the point is that they're meant for Slimefun. Let's continue on. The compressor. This will come in handy for a number of different things, turning coal into carbon. Carbon is used extensively through Slimefun, as will compressed carbon and reinforced alloy ingots into steel plates or reinforced plates, which we'll use a lot. So we're going to build this one. This is, again, another multi-block, 2 pistons, a dispenser facing up, and another brick fence. Oops, I got to get out of it. There we go. So we need 2 pistons, like I said. 1 and 2. A dispenser facing up, and another brick fence. So again, here's how you test it. Did you build it right? You right click on it. Sorry, I could not recognize the item in my dispenser. There's nothing in there. In other words, it's trying to craft nothing out of nothing. While it succeeds, it also fails. That's how you know you've built the machine properly, is when you see that. All right, next machine on our list. The Smeltery, something that initially we're going to be doing by hand, although we are going to try to build a auto clicker to keep this thing going really rapidly. 2 nether bricks, another dispenser, and another brick fence. However, flint and steel underneath here signifies you have to light the spot under the dispenser. In other words, the dispenser is not going on the ground. We're going to want that one relatively close as well. So here's what we're going to do to start with. We're going to just put down a piece of wood. We're going to get our dispenser. Whoops, I took it out of the inventory. All right, and just to confirm, dispenser faced up. So we're going to face it up. We're going to break this piece of wood. We simply needed it to get that dispenser 1 block off the ground. Okay. 2 nether bricks and then another brick fence. So let's do this. We'll come up here, hold down shift. Whoops, wrong way. There we go. Okay, and then 2 nether bricks. So hold on shift, 1 on one side, 1 on the other. Same thing if you click the fence without a brick in your hand. It's ready. This one didn't have that same thing happen. Did you notice that? I clicked it and it says, let's try this. There we go. I can still get to the dispenser, and I right click it, nothing's coming on the screen, and you go, wait a minute, it's broken, it's not built right. This one's a little bit different because what it's looking for is fire underneath. So if I put fire underneath and now I right click it, I don't get the recognized pattern. That's the fuel for the smelter. So, and the problem is, sometimes it will last for 1 item, sometimes it'll last for 16. There is no rhyme or reason. There's an auto igniter that we're going to build to keep this thing going. All we have to do is chuck flint and steel in it, it'll do it for us automatically. But if I were to put a whole bunch of gold dust in here, it could go out after 1 attempt, it could go out after 16 attempts. So we're going to put that up for now. That's how you know you've built it right, when you ignite the floor underneath it, and then you right click on the fence, and you get that sorry message. All right, what's next after the smeltery? We're going to go to the pressure chamber. Not something we're going to use a whole lot. Initially we will, to try to get a couple of carbonados going and some synthetic diamonds, but we won't use this a whole ton. 4 pistons, 2 smooth stone slabs, a dispenser facing down this time, glass, and a cauldron. So we're going to start with the cauldron. And because we're not going to use it too often, this one's going to go back here a little ways. All right, here's our cauldron. Let's get our 4 pistons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we need 1 piece of glass. Okay, and then we needed 2 half slabs. And then we needed a dispenser facing down. So we're going to do that. Get our dispenser facing down and then come back on the back side, break that. There we go. So how do you test if this one's set up right? You're going to put your items into, this case, you put them into the dispenser and then you click the cauldron. You should get that sorry message. And actually what you'll see is if I put in a raw carbonado in here and then I click on the cauldron, you'll actually see what looks like smoke going back and forth, like something magical is actually happening. All right, so the next item we build, the magic workbench, another multi-block. This one, it says infuses items with magical energy. This one you will not be using a whole lot. It's simply a bookshelf, a crafting table, and a dispenser, but it's not facing up. Because this is one we won't use much, we're going to put this one back into a corner. So we're going to put the dispenser here. Let's see, there we go. Crafting table and bookshelf. So again, how do we know it's right? Put our recipe into the dispenser, click on the crafting table, we get the error message, we're good to go. So there are very few items that we're going to craft in that one, but there's one in particular that I think we're going to need that has to do with runes. We'll get to a little bit later. All right, we're getting through these pretty good here. So we've got the magic workbench. Ore washer, we will use this a lot. This is where we'll take sifted ore and get the different dust that we need. So you can see there's 2, right? All those sifted ore can yield those dusts. We've got the remaining of it. Looks like some of these might be listed twice. I'm not quite sure why. Sifted ore, copper dust, sifted ore, copper dust. Well, apparently they didn't set up their help menu right. Stone chunks, you can use them, they're kind of useless. Sand and salt, no big deal. But here's where that pulverized ore becomes pure ore clusters that we talked about when we're talking about uranium. Cauldron, oak fence, dispenser. We're going to put this one near the middle because we are going to use it a lot. So we have a cauldron. We have oak fence is already down here. And the dispenser is straight. It is not upside down. It is not facing up. So whoops, and of course, wouldn't you know I did it anyways. There we go. All right. We'll just stick it right there. We go. Okay, same thing. Click on a dispenser. Click on the fence post. If you get the error message, you're good to go. Okay, next. Table saw we're not using. This is essentially, like I said, it gives 8 planks out of 1 log. I don't need to worry about that right now. The digital miners are deprecated, which means at some point in the future the devs are going to replace these. My understanding is that they are non-functional, even though you might be able to craft them. They will not work, so we're going to pass those. Automated panning machine we are going to use. Another multi-block at the cauldron and an oak trap door. Something you will use a little bit. And what you're panning for is that sifted ore. So we're simply going to put this down. And what you'll do with this, when you click on a cauldron, nothing happens. When you click on this, that's what activates it. So what we're going to do when we look at this one, let's bring it back up in the guide. Okay. If I were to put gravel in, if I were to smack the side of this thing with gravel over and over and over and over and over, or smack it up here, eventually, because I'm putting in gravel, I will get flint out, or I can get sifted ore, or I can get clay, or I can get iron nuggets. If I did soul sand, I can get any one of those items, as well as gas tiers. So it's a nice little way to get, some basic things that we need, but the one thing we really want out of that is a sifted ore. The juicer we're going to bypass again. I don't need guava juice. I don't need to have pineapple juice and lemonade right now. We're also going to bypass the kitchen, like I said, it just doesn't seem like something we need. I don't think I need to make 150 fillet of fish sandwiches. The output chest, again, we want to get that lead ingot so we can get those going. The ignition chamber, this is what we need to replace flint and steel. The problem is we can't build this, not anytime soon. We need electric motors. There's a whole ton of Slimefun stuff we have to get. Now we've unlocked everything, but we got to be able to build these things first, which means we need resources and material. We need copper, we need nickel, we need cobalt, we need magnets and batteries, which means we need sulfate, redstone dust. It's going to take us a while, and I'm going to show you how to do it the old-fashioned way first, because we can't make any of those machines until we do. All right, and we're almost done. Coming back out. Composter. This is where you can take stuff and, just like a vanilla composter, turn it into other stuff. In vanilla, you get bone meal. Here, if I take 8 dark oak leaves, I can turn it into dirt. If I take 4 stone, I can turn it into another rack. If I happen to have, say 1 million stone lying around like I do on grid, I can turn it into another rack and then or grind it into sulfate. I can turn wheat into another word. I thought that was a kind of an odd thing. I can take 2 sand into soul sand if I need that, and I've done that a lot. This one's real simple. This is the first one we're actually going to build in our crafting table, so you're actually going to get to see one of these built. So we're going to come over to our crafting table. We're going to put in 6 slabs. Didn't I bring slabs with me? Are you kidding? No, there we go. I thought I missed them. So it was 6 slabs, and the other ingredient was a cauldron. So watch what happens. Now we click on it. We didn't get the error message. Well, we have a composter. Yay for us. Good job, guys. Let's see. Let's put this one right here. All right, so we have our composter. Now I click on it. Sorry, couldn't recognize it because I didn't put anything in there. All right, there's the composter, and our last one is going to be the crucible. This is going to be really important to get us some on early. We can get lava with it. We can also turn almost anything into lava. If I happen to be, in a mesa and I did llamas, you can see all these things can be turned into lava. No big deal. The one I'm worried about is a 16 cobblestone. And we'll use lava down the road as part of our automated system, and get this, making obsidian, and also we'll use it for fueling androids. For now, we're going to craft this as 6 terracotta and 1 flint and steel, and that's all there is to this one. 6 terracotta, missed, really bad. 1 flint and steel. While it is used, it will still work. And now we have a fully charged crucible. And I should probably go through and label these, because the crucible and the composter, they're going to kind of look alike. So I should definitely get some signage and come back and label these. So we're going to do this real quick. This one's a composter, and this one's our crucible. And you know what? It might not be a bad idea for you. I did this initially, is the first time I built these things, I went through and I labeled every one of them too, so I knew what they were. And I still get them confused once in a while. So in the world of Slimefun, guys, this is pretty much everything that you need. And we'll build the other things later. But these are all the basic things that you need to get up and get started. And so we are going to wrap up here. I'm going to be working on this base for a while as well. I want to start getting the Guardian farm going, because I am going to need a lot of sea lanterns and some other things to build this base. We want to get a shop open with Guardian and Prismarine and Dark Oak, or Deep Dark Pris and stuff like that. I want to be able to move that glass in 1 layer. I did it initially with the builder's wands that we have, so I could place 50 glass at a time. It made it clearing out the water much easier. We're going to start the circle, start cordoning off and expanding and removing the water. But when we come back, we're going to get started with taking cobble and getting our dust, so we can start building Slimefun things and guys get going in this thing. So I hope this helped you with all the basic machines. If you've got any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below. I'll do my best to respond to them as quick as I can. But I thank you for watching. If you're interested and you want to know when more of these tutorials in Slimefun come out, please subscribe and turn those notifications on so you're made aware. But remember, even in survival, we go boomer or we go home. We'll see you later.